Facing the starter, they're off. 2.5 miles again the trip for the second division of the Weatherby's Printing National Hunt Novices Hurdle. 11 flights to take. Announcing Alice is the leader, but running around a bit on the approach towards this first flight. And there we very nearly lost Lilo Bosch, but it was a particularly good sit from Willie McCarthy. The horse all wrong at flight number 1 and is now restrained at the back of the field where Hemmington is the early back marker. What a Friend is held up towards the rear of the field early. Pulling hard at the back is Mr. Gloss as they take the second flight of hurdles. No alarms there as Announcing Alice is joined on the far side by Freeline Fury, and now ahead of them both in the white and green colours is Fighting Chance over on the far side. Fighting Chance put in a spectacular leap there at the third flight. Slightly iffy jump from All the Way in Time, who landed in about 6th or 7th place, and on that one's inside is Jaunty Flight, who's away well enough in about 6th, towards the inner in the famous Peter Deal colours, the dark blue and yellow cross belts. Next is Fighting Chance then, taking the fourth with a clear advantage. Hemmington still the back marker, but it's Fighting Chance by some 4 lengths here over Announcing Alice. All the Way in Time got a reminder there and shot through from about 7th to 3rd in 2 strides. That had the desired effect very definitely. Freeline Fury's in behind him. Nicto de Beauchesne is not far behind. Jaunty Flight is next on the inside of Carruthers, and wider still races Hazim as they head down the bottom part of the track. Master Overseer races next. He's in mid-division, the David Pipe runner. He's now alongside Mr. Gloss as they now turn away and head up the hill on the far side of the track. Freedom Fricks is with these runners, and then there's a slight gap back to What a Friend. Slightly bigger gap then back to Coolock, who's towards the rear in company with the other grey Hemmington, and Lilo Bosch, remember that was the one who made a mistake early on in the race, is now dropping back to last place. So again, quite well strung out, not as noticeably as in the first division of this, but a good 15, maybe 20 lengths cover the field, but it's still Fighting Chance who leads them as they approach the next flight of hurdles. Fighting Chance then, jumping very well at the head of affairs as well. Slow jump there from Kuluk. Hemmington and Lilo Bosch beginning to just lose a little bit of touch at the back of the field. And reminders there for Master Overseer, who's only got 2 or 3 behind him as well, and he doesn't appear to be going that well. Over to the middle flight on the far side they now head, and the leader, Fighting Chance, stood over that one nicely. Announcing Alice still disputes second place, but Jaunty Flight's made some very good progress and travels extremely smoothly, going into second place now. Follow him through is Spare Cash, who makes ground from the rear of the field. Carruthers is right there with the red sleeves, and then All the Way in Time as they approach the next flight of hurdles. Those leaders all safely over. On the inside is Freeline Fury, who's just being bustled along. Nicto de Beauchesne is still well there. Now definite improvement from What a Friend, who moves much closer. He's in about 8th place, no worse than that, and certainly within 4 or 5 lengths of the leaders. Just about still in touch is Freedom Fricks. Now All the Way in Time, having been rushed up on the winning line first time to go 3rd, he's now paying the penalty perhaps for that now and dropping quite steadily back through the field. He's got himself very remote indeed. Hazim also very remote at the back. Kuluk still going, Hemmington still going, but all these tailed off. I'm afraid Mark Bradstock has given you no run for your money whatsoever. He's completely tailed off at the back end of the field together with Hemmington as they now race on then round towards the final 4 flights of hurdles. So they're slowly dropping off this pace here. About 7 or 8 of them turning with some hopes of winning here, but up front the leader still jumping brilliantly well is Fighting Chance, but in second place Jaunty Flight is now trying to attend to him. Meanwhile in behind them Carruthers, What a Friend and also Spare Cash join in, and all of a sudden 5 of them group right up. Jaunty Flight was settled into that flight of hurdles and now dropping. Jaunty Flight doesn't have any response to this as Fighting Chance is now being joined by What a Friend approaching the second last. Carruthers down the outside. Cash in behind them. Any of the 4 could yet win. Looks as though the game's up for Jaunty Flight back in 5th place, who in turn is clear of Mr. Gloss as they head now down to the final flight of hurdles. The leader here is What a Friend, white colours, blue cap, leading from Carruthers. In behind them Spare Cash and Fighting Chance, who is now beaten. The final flight coming up here for What a Friend. What a Friend at the last made a right mess of it. Carruthers now with a golden chance. Spare Cash staying on strongly to the line. Carruthers on the far side there from What a Friend, who's trying to rally. Carruthers gifted the race. What a Friend made a dreadful blunder at the last. That cost him. He's finished second. And Spare Cash was third. They were clear of Fighting Chance and Jaunty Flight.
What drama, and the good fortune for Mark Bradstock continues, because he's had another winner here. Carruthers, owned by the Oaksey partnership, was bred by Lord Oaksey, his father-in-law, and he was here today and not unbacked. That was 12 to 1 on Mattie this morning, but returned 5 to 1 and ridden by Mattie Batchelor. The little jockey's feature on him today. He's doing really well, and there was a pretty catastrophic